Hello and welcome to a Smurd video, and today I'm doing something a bit different. This is my top 10 villains from the Lightning Collection series that has been running for the last 5 years by Hasbro. Before we get into that, I just wanted to wish a massive happy birthday to my buddy Mark McNeil, aka MMPR94 on YouTube. Great channel, does lots of fun things. I love what he does with some of the vintage stuff. He shows some of those old Zords off, and it just really brings some of that nostalgia back, as well as looking at some of the new stuff as well. So happy birthday, buddy. Now, there's been a lot of discussion when it comes to the Lightning Collection, and Hasbro sort of perhaps putting this sort of stop to new waves, etc. Lots of speculation, blah, 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 and statements, etc., sort of blaming the fans, etc. I can't... Okay, there's been some QCR issues throughout it. There always is, to be honest with you. That's unexpected, not unexpected. I guess the biggest thing that has perhaps slowed down purchasing from fans, we are in this living crisis where people who perhaps would have been able to afford it no longer can afford it because they're either paying gas, electric, high bills, or they're paying for big, massive food bills, etc. So plus these figures have gone up. I don't know, what, five quid each extra? They're not cheap anymore, or not reasonable anymore. So yeah, sales will slow down from that perspective. I don't think it's because the fans don't like some of these figures. Don't get me wrong, there's always going to be some. My biggest gripe, to be honest with you, was always the fact that they did too much Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I love Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That's what I began on. However, it would have been nice for that to be a steady release instead of almost being shoved down our throats. Now, there is another argument that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers apparently sells really well, so they're going to continue doing that stuff. And that's why we end up getting a variety of figures. But I look at these villains here, these villains that have perhaps never seen a figure before, and I think, goodness gracious me, wow. Do you know what I mean? I could never qualm that Hasbro still have not given us a variety, because they have given us a variety. As far as I'm concerned, I never expected to see some of these villains ever, and boy, do they look absolutely stunning. Let's just get a little bit of a close-up there. Sorry about the line. It is difficult for me in terms of lighting when I have a big display like this, but it just looks absolutely gorgeous. There are some beautiful, beautiful figures in there, and I really had to dig deep to pick my top 10. Yes, I did throw Green Ranger in there because he was evil at one time as well. So let's get into this. Okay, so narrowing it down to 10, I'm not going to lie, was really, really difficult, because there were at least 4 others that were definitely in my top 10 that have dropped out, and that was Rita Repulsa, Red Sentry, Astronomer, that was probably more nostalgia, and Goldar. And I think it was between Goldar was definitely in my top 10, and I went with Green Psycho Ranger. Surprisingly, I love... Oops, sorry, I zoomed in a bit too much. I obviously love Goldar and how that looks, and perhaps now I'm regretting that decision. However, in my top 10 is Green Psycho, and he was originally showcased in Boom Studios issue number 20, where there were previous Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, that were sent to the moon, and a majority of them were easily murdered by this threat until he was stopped. I don't think they killed him, but he was stopped, put it that way. And he comes with, and he was really hard to get. I think I remember I ended up getting him from the US, and he comes with this beautiful dagger, and it's just stuff like that that just seal it for me. But I feel like Psychos are they were such a big presence for me when I was watching Power Rangers. I loved the Psycho Rangers, and this just made perhaps the Psycho Rangers even better than what they are. And it's a beautiful mold. It's a mold that we've seen through I'm going to say 7 figures off the top of my head, including that Silver Ranger that we got, which is just saying basically. And it's just beautiful, beautiful armor, etc. Looks really great. And it is a beautiful, beautiful figure. So I'm definitely in my top 10, although very, very close to Goldar. He had to fight tooth and nail to beat that monster and become the monster of number 10. There we go. At number 9, this is Draken Evolution 3. So this was like his third suit in that evolution during Shattered Grid. I'm going to say Shattered Grid. It was Shattered Grid, wasn't it? I almost said Shattered Glass. So we end up in here. You got a beautiful head sculpt with Evil Tommy as well. I'm sorry, I probably should have brought that out sooner. The head could come off the Saba, which is who we would sort of talk to, etc. Which was really, really nice gimmick. And it's just, once again, it's just a beautiful, beautiful figure. I love the head sculpt. The shielding, the cloak looks very cool. Although a fabric cloak would have been absolutely stunning. I'm just going to very, very briefly, if I can get into style. Okay, the cloak will keep him up. Just going to bring in the Draken that we got before. I think it was about Caesar Wave 4, if I remember correctly. And that was also a beautiful, beautiful figure as well. And then, you know, it evolved from the comic books, and we've got this brilliant figure. I really enjoy the fact that they give us figures like this, etc. And it was easy for me to put Draken in before the Red Sentries, even though I do like them. Number 8, and it's another comic representative. I actually didn't think that this wasn't part of my train of thought, whether it was comic or the series that we saw on the TV. However, we have got Shredder as the Green Ranger, and this looks really, really awesome because you do actually have if he doesn't fall, you do actually get the fabric cloak as well, and it just looks looks like Shredder, feels like Shredder, just with the added green shield and the green helmet. My biggest bugbear off this was the fact that you didn't get a human head to go on this, because I think that would have just added to how amazing this figure was. You also get a little Morpher down there. I don't think that's shown up very well, but you can sort of see the Green Ranger coin in there. Now, the other figure that I really wanted to go in here was a Foot Soldier, because even though technically, okay, you can argue that it's not Power Rangers apart from the comic series, this was absolutely a phenomenal figure and looks absolutely beautiful in my opinion, and definitely one up there. And I think I've said it numerous times, they could easily make a turtle line. Hasbro could make a turtle line that I would buy. I would generally buy it because these look really, really cool. Anyway, let's move on. Number 7, Dino Thunder's Anton Mercer, aka Mesogog. I'm pretty sure I said that incorrectly. And once again, this is a beautiful figure, and this just once again demonstrates how good they are at doing monsters. Hasbro seem to deliver really, really well. And this looks, once again, absolutely gorgeous. Just look at the detail all throughout it. Just give a proper quality figure. And I can't remember how much this costs. Obviously, like I said at the beginning of the video, figures are more. This was probably more heading towards the £30 range now. I guess that's the new normal, which is a little bit sad, but it's a beautiful figure, so I can justify spending that because this looks absolute quality. So let's once again, let's see who's next. At number 6 is the Cogs. Now, even though they are very basic, Hasbro delivered a 2-pack, which I'm not going to lie, wasn't that cheap. But it ended up going on sale at some point, and I did buy quite a few. And the point that I'm getting to is that even though they look very basic, these head sculpts are absolutely stunning and quality. They show both of them in just normal fighting mode, and then also when they're meant to blast. It would have been cool to get some little effects on there as well, but not the end of the world. They also came with multiple of weapons such as long staff and short staff, etc. As well as I think there were some effects that came with them. Can't remember the exact details of that, but because I have so many now, but they do look absolutely quality. And then they went and released a single figure as well, which had the Zeo blue weapons, so it was probably a must pick up for some of us that got the blue Zeo Ranger. But yeah, a great addition, and definitely deserved to be in this top 10. As henchmen, they could have easily been pushed out aside. Number 5, and this is Lord Zed from the Wedding 2-pack. There was an original release, however, there was a few paint apps missing that they tried to rectify with this new thing. I actually, and much to my regret, I actually sold that Zed. I kind of sort of wish that I hadn't. You know, if I can get him cheap again, I may do that, because there is enough room for a Season 2 Zed on his own, and Zed and Rita, so to speak. Hence, I mean, we're getting another Rita at some point. I'm not mad at all. I generally think there's an opportunity for a Season 1 Villains team, so to speak. But yeah, Zed, this figure is great. It was, you know, I mean, the fact that Wave 1 generally had a Zed, they've got the moving body parts. These are bits that Hasbro could have easily skipped, but they made part of the figure, and it just looks quality from start to finish. He was always a scary villain, especially right at the beginning of Season 2, he was scary. I think the only thing that I could say, I would have wished that this was a bit more chrome and perhaps slightly bigger, not too much, just a little bit bigger, to give it that menacing feel when he has it in both hands. But yeah, Zed, definitely worth being in the top 5. And certainly if this was another day and I was thinking about this, I perhaps could have put him up higher. See, when I do these things, it's based on what I'm feeling in that moment, etc. At number 4, this is Lunchbox Pudgy Pig. And yeah, I got this question asked of me the other day by Rob Lane, who's got a channel as well. I think it's called, oh crap, sorry dude, Power Rangers Lightning Collection 2021, I'm gonna say. Sorry if I got that wrong, mate. Anyway, he asked me what my favorite villain is, and you know, maybe when Minotaur comes out, perhaps I'll feel a bit differently, but at this point in time, Pudgy Pig is still number 1 in terms of those Mighty Morphin Power Rangers monsters that we've had, and they all look good. I think Finks is a close second. There was just a few paint apps that I didn't particularly like, whereas I feel like this is perfect in terms of what they wanted to achieve, how gross he looks, but he also came with that cool lunchbox. He also came with lots of little bits of food, etc. that he could eat, and who doesn't need a knife and fork for Pudgy Pig? You know, it's a no-brainer. So yeah, plus this bit, it's quality. He's going to reach you to the next bit. Oh, whoops. Let's move on. At number 3 is Tengu Warrior. Now, Tengu Warriors were big in the movie and Season 3 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But the level of detail on these figures, the size of them as well as the accessories. You got 2 sets of wings. You got the Tengu eggs, which is what they originally hatched out of. And they're absolutely stunning, and the colors are just vibrant. You could open the beak. It's just pure quality in terms of this figure, and definitely one of my favorite henchmen. In fact, it is my favorite henchman, hence why it's above everybody else. They did create these different colored ones, which I thought was a bit weird. Also, the thing with Tengu Warriors, and I've got about 10 or 12 now. They ended up going on sale really well. So the fact that they released these at full price, I thought was a bit bizarre, when they're not even part of the original sort of colors. The only thing that I thought is that you could make some of them sort of like little leaders, etc., in that color, and perhaps they're leading the purple ones. Maybe that's the only thing that I thought. But yeah, absolutely pure class act with this Hasbro, and this is when these figures were being released around the 20 quid mark. You know, they didn't bump up the price for these. They were top-notch figures back in the day. So let's move on. We've only got 2 more to go. So who will make my number 1? Ecliptor, one of my favorite villains of Power Rangers in space, and in particular just Power Rangers in general, along with Dark Condor. I think if Dark Condor was here, Dark Condor perhaps would jump Ecliptor, depending on how well he looks, etc. But I feel once again they've done a top-notch job in terms of how this looks. They did release him as a deluxe figure, but it's not the end of the world. I feel like they've got everything down to a T, although I feel like that's just a sticker. I'm not entirely sure, and I don't want to touch it really. But the level of detail throughout this figure just makes it what it is. Absolutely pure genius, etc. And like I said, In Space was one of my favorite seasons of all time. I think it's always between that and Zeo. And then sometimes, depending on how I'm feeling that day, sometimes go with Zeo. But not only that, we obviously got the Ecliptor from that one episode towards the end of the season, where he absorbed some sort of energy. I can't remember how it was explained. He absorbed some sort of energy and went this sort of red color. So I just think it's just sort of nifty that they gave us 2. Now all we need is Dark Ecliptor to get the full team. I would buy a 2-pack of that and Dark Condor, etc. But yeah, definitely deserves to be in number 2. And by number 2, I'm just clear I'm not throwing 2 figures in here, obviously. This is number 2, because it's main Ecliptor, and that was just there, just as you can see him, etc. So, who has made it to number 1? Let's go. Boom, 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 boom. At number 1, it is Vinster. Who else could it be? This is one of the best sculpts ever from Hasbro when it has come to a villain. And Vinster, for all he's quibbling, making monsters, etc., he deserves to be on here, because this is one of those figures that they have given us that is perfect. He comes with the beautiful apron, which you can add these little pieces in, etc. They just slot in. I probably could do that a little bit better. I'll figure that out later. That's not important. You know, he's got the weapon. I do have a little knife for him somewhere. I can't remember where that actually is, but it's somewhere. And you could just do it. I was trying to remember if he came with a little sculpt or something. I feel like there's a figure coming out with a little sculpt or something. I may be going mad, but just the detail. Once again, it's not about who the character is or anything. Sometimes it's just about the perfect detail on him. You know, just the opening of the mouth, etc. The beautiful way the glasses just sit on the nose there. Just looks absolutely top notch, and he was a great character. I think they gave him more in depth in the comics, which made me love the character probably a little bit more as well. Plus you've got Alpha Vinster as well, Vinster 5 if I remember correctly as well, which was another great character from the Coinless universe, from where Lord Draken comes from. But more importantly, this is great. So yeah, that's my top 10, people. Let's wrap it up, and well done, Vinster. A great monster, and maybe, I hope that we get more figures next year, more villains next year, and I really do hope that continues. And then maybe we'll see, will my top 10 at some point next year or the year after, will it be different? So there we go. So that's my top 10. I really do hope that you enjoyed it, and more importantly, I want to hear what your top 10 is. Did my figures make it into your 10, or do you have something else? Put in the comments what your top 10 would be. I would love to see that and how that actually looks. So that's it from me. I hope you like my video. If you do, please support my channel by subscribing. Thank you for watching. Thank you to those that are already subscribed. Appreciate you a great deal. Make sure you look after yourself. Very important these days. And as always, embrace geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.